Boom. There we go. There we go. So, like I, said, we're gonna record the session, and before I even get started, it's very important for us to, and this is gonna be very quick because it is a Wednesday, and Wednesdays are trading sessions. So we definitely want to focus more on, the setups. Really just jumping in and analyzing the markets. So this side of things, which is just, the formalities, things that we definitely need to, do before we even jump on the market. I'm gonna, browse through, I'm gonna skim through it and just, so if you're new on this session, best thing I'd advise you to do, and I always tell this to people who are new, is to just, sit back and just observe, see how we do things. And then, from maybe even, next week, you can actually, start, taking action, because now you've got a bit of understanding as to, how we analyze, how we place our trades and so on and so forth. But basically, foreign exchange market is just a market where the buyers and sellers meet. It's the largest financial market in the world. So there's only two things. It's either we're buying a market or selling a market, right? So we're always capitalizing on the imbalances between two different currencies, right? Because currencies, they either gain strength or they lose strength, right? So we as traders, we capitalize on those imbalances. Now, 70% of the market, all right, 70% of the market is controlled. Well, not really controlled, but it compromises or is comprised of the banks, right? It consists of the banks. So the banks make up majority of the foreign exchange market. So the banks are the market movers, right? But anyways, that is neither nor. Basically, in order for us to know exactly what's happening, in order for us to, be able to, fluently, because remember, guys, we're trading high frequency, forex, which is money in minutes, which is time based, which is quick. I mean, we're in the markets in 1, 2, 3 minutes, right? So it's very, very important for us to really know what is happening, because we don't need no volatility in the markets. We don't need no spikes in the market. It's not like your normal FRX, where you can actually start riding, the waves, the fundamentals, you can move with the news, here. It's quick. We're in and we're out. So we really, want to be very, very careful and cautious, when it comes to what, we're trading. So in order for us to really understand, what's happening all over the world and how big of, an impact whatever's going to be happening, whatever's going to be shared is going to have on specific currencies, it's very important for us to use Forex Factory, because Forex Factory is going to break it down for us, in folders. So there will always be 4 different types of folders. We've got your yellow folders, we've got your orange folders, we've got your red folders, and we've got your silver or white folders. So basically, yellow folders just simply means low impact news, which means that whatever is going to be shared on that specific currency is not going to have that big of an impact, on that currency, right? So, for example, currently right now we have some yellow folders, right? So that means that we have free flowing access to the markets. Now in the morning we can trade any and everything, right? We don't have any high impact, we don't have any volatility in the markets. So that is exactly what we always want to see. Now, you will also have your orange folders. Now, your orange folders just simply means medium impact news, which means that whatever's going to be shared, right? Whatever's going to be shared on that specific currency is going to have a medium impact on the volatility of that specific market. So what does that mean? It means that we can trade orange folders, right? But we want to use very good risk management, right? We want to be very cautious when it comes to those. Now, why? Because we don't really understand how big of an impact this might have. It might have a bigger impact than we thought, or it might have a lesser impact than we thought. So it's we can trade it, but we have to be very careful when we're trading it. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. And then we have your red folders. Now, red just means danger. Red means stop. Red means, stay away, right? Red means high impact. So what does that mean? It means that whatever is going to be shared, right? Whatever is going to be shared on that specific currency, right, is going to have a very high impact, right? It's going to cause a lot of big movements, some spikes in the market, some volatility, right? So we definitely want to stay away from your red folders, right? So whatever currency has red folder, you want to stay away from around that time, because whatever's going to be shared is going to have a big impact, on that specific currency, right? So you definitely want to, avoid such, because like I said, we're trading high frequency forex. We're trading time-based trading, money in minutes. So we don't need no big moves. We don't need no volatility in the market. We don't need no spikes. All right. We want smooth sailing in the markets. And then last but not least is definitely your white or your silver folders, which just simply means, bank holidays. Right now, when we're talking bank holidays, remember I just, broke down to you guys that, the banks, they make up 70% of the foreign exchange market. All right, they consist 70% of the foreign exchange market. So what does that mean? It means that they're the market movers. So if a specific bank is on holiday, what does that mean? It means that there's no money going out, there's no money being traded or invested in the foreign exchange market. Right? There's no influx of any capital. Now, if there's no money going out, what does that mean? It means that the market is not moving. If the market mover is not pushing any money out, then the market is not moving because the market mover is closed, right? The market mover is closed. So that's why when we have bank holidays, right, we tend to want to stay away from those certain currencies, because there's really not much movement in those currencies because there's no money going out, there's no money being flooded, invested in the markets. All right. Now, if that makes sense and we really understand the different types of folders. So basically, in a nutshell, we want to stay away from the silver and the red folders. We always want to look for the yellow folders. All right. When we see yellow folders, that means good. But also, if we have some orange folders, we can actually jump in and start trading those specific currencies, but with good risk management, right? But other than that, guys, those are the 4 different types of folders. So if we're clear and we really understand, how to look at these news, right, and really look and identify and know what it means to have the 4 different types of folders and what they stand for, drop some 444s in the chat box for the 4 different types of folders. Awesome. Now, repetition is key. Repetition is key, and that's why every single session, you're going to hear me talk about the same thing over and over and over again, because that's how you get to really understand something and make it make sense, right? Even for me, this is also helping me. Just me repeating this over and over and over again, solidifies this information. It stores it in my subconscious so that, just by default, every time I look at the markets, every time I look at the news, every time I read the news, I already know exactly what it is that I want to see because I've been programming myself over and over and over and over again on what it is I want to see, what it means, what it represents. We have over 70 people on this call. Sheesh, the numbers keep on growing, the numbers keep on rising. I'm so excited to have each and every one of you on this call, right? So yeah, so basically now that we know that we can actually look at any and every currency currently right now, because we don't have no red folders at this current point in time. Yes, we did have, some red folders earlier on in the morning around 12 a.m. And we are going to be experiencing also, some high impact news again around 5 p.m. today. But currently right now, and on this, as we're on this call right now, all right, we have free flowing access. We don't really have any red folders. We have yellow folders, right? Which means that we don't have any high or medium or bank holiday, right? It's just low impact news, right? So that's exactly what it is that we always want to see, right? So which means that we can look at any and every currency. So already I'm looking at Euro JPY. I'm looking at Euro AUD for some buys. Now, why is this the case? Now, there's either an uptrend or a downtrend, right? There's either an uptrend or a downtrend. So what does that mean? An uptrend, you always want to look for buys. Now, write this down. The trend is your friend. Now, this is very important for people to understand. The trend will always be your friend. So what does that mean? It means that if we are on an uptrend, you only want to look for buys. If we are on a downtrend, you only want to look for sells, right? So that is what I mean by the trend is your friend, because you want to move with the trend. So if the trend is pushing to the upside, move with the trend. If the trend is pushing to the downside, move with the trend. So it's either we have an uptrend or a downtrend. Now, if we have an uptrend, you want to buy that specific market. And if we have a downtrend, you want to sell that specific market. Now, how do you identify an uptrend and how do you identify a downtrend? Me personally, the strength of certain currencies dictates what it is that I actually want to see when I open my charts. So basically, on Euro AUD and on Euro JPY, I'm seeing a trend. I'm seeing that Euro is very, very strong compared to the Australian dollar and the Japanese yen. Right. So what does that mean? It means that every time you want to buy a specific market, you always want the first currency stronger than the second currency. Now look at Euro AUD. What is the first currency? It's the euro. What is the second currency? It's AUD. Now the first currency is obviously stronger than the second currency, and that's why I'm looking at an uptrend. That's why when I open the Euro AUD chart, I want to see price pushing up. Same thing with Euro JPY. Same thing with GBP AUD. Right, GBP AUD, GBP is stronger than AUD, GBP JPY, same thing. All four of these currency pairs that I've just looked at right now, I'm anticipating and I'm looking for an uptrend. I'm looking for some buy momentums on those currencies. Now, the direct opposite is the case when I'm looking for sell opportunities. Now, look, for example, at AUD USD. Now, look at AUD USD. Now, what is the first currency? The first currency is AUD. What is the second currency? It's USD. Now, can we all agree that USD being the second currency is actually stronger than AUD? Yes, we can see that. Now, because the second currency is stronger than the first currency, I'm looking at a downward trend. I'm looking at price pushing to the downside. I'm looking for some sell momentums, right? I'm looking to sell the specific market. See, that is all I want to see, when it comes to the strength, because the strength for me is going to determine whether I should be looking for some uptrends, or I should be looking for some downtrends, whether I want to look for buys in the setup or some sells in the setup, right? So I've just spotted, a couple of buy opportunities. I'm looking at Euro AUD, I'm looking at Euro JPY, I'm looking at GBP AUD, I'm looking at GBP JPY for some buys, but I'm also looking at AUD USD for some sells. Now, if this is making sense, right, I'm looking at NZD USD also for some sells. Look at that, NZD being the first currency, USD being the second currency. Look at this USD strength against this NZD. Right, so definitely on NZD USD, I'm also looking at, momentum to the downside, right? Some sell momentums, right? Now, if this is making sense and you can identify uptrends and downtrends based on the strength, drop some 222s for the two different types of strengths. Drop some 222s for the two different types of strengths. Awesome, 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 awesome. Repetition is key. Repetition is key. All right. Now, all we want to do right now is we want to jump straight into the markets then. All right. We want to jump straight into the markets and actually identify and see exactly what it is that we've been talking about. Right. Exactly what it is that we've been talking about. All right. So I'm gonna jump right into Hourglass right now, and we're going to open exactly the currency pairs we've been looking at, right? The currency pairs we've been looking at. So basically, what did we say? We said that Euro AUD, we said that Euro JPY, we said GBP AUD, and we said GBP JPY. All right, so Euro and GBP. So let's quickly just go to Euro JPY and Euro AUD and just look at what it is that we want to see. Let's see. I want to show you this. Now, look at this, Euro AUD, first and foremost. Boom. Now, buy a sign of some 111s in the chat box. Can we all agree that this is an uptrend? Buy a show of some 111s. Can we all agree that this is an uptrend? Look at this. All right, look at that. Can we see that where price started and where price is currently at right now, and that it is actually pushing to the upside? So this is exactly what I wanted to see before I even opened the charts. Because remember, I noticed that Euro was stronger than AUD, so we were in an uptrend. So by the time I open my chart, I already know what I want to see. I want to see price pushing up. I want to see price making that uptrend, right? Because now that I see that price is making this uptrend, the next best thing for me to do right now is to identify where is the next best place for me to place this trade. Because remember, I already know that this market is a buying market. So because I know that it is a buying market, I want to identify the next best place for me to buy, the next best place for me to place a trade and enter the market, right? Now, also, we were looking at Euro JPY. So let's go to Euro JPY as well. And let's just see what we're going to see on Euro JPY. Look at this. Look at Euro JPY. From the lowest point to the highest point. So we can all agree that Euro JPY is actually pushing up. It's an uptrend. Look at this massive, massive push to the upside. Right now, this is obviously a break and a retest of structure. All right, this is obviously a break. Price broke this level, came back to retest it to continue pushing back to the upside. We also have the Bollinger Bands cutting through that price to indicate that now this price is ready to start pushing back to the upside. All right, so also on Euro JPY, exactly what we said we want to see is happening. All right, now we are coming in on the half-hour mark. Right, so before I open any other charts, I want to quickly just browse through. So let me go look at GBP AUD and GBP JPY as well, see if we don't see any potential buy or sell ideas. Actually, it's going to be some buys because GBP is stronger than both AUD and JPY. So let's see if we aren't coming in on any good setups. So obviously, I am seeing a lot of ceilings around this area here. So I'm going to put my first line around these areas around here. All right. Meaning that if price is to push down within these areas, then I would expect it to push back to the upside, right? Because it broke these areas, played within these areas. So somewhere around these floors, right, I am anticipating price to really start pushing back to the upside. That is GBP AUD. Let me look at GBP CAD. All right, GBP CAD is pushing up. So we're going to let that one go, GBP CHF. GBP CHF around these areas. Right, around these areas around here, actually already made that reversal, came down into these areas, gave us a nice double bottom structure, right, and then continued to push back up. Let's look at GBP JPY also, because it was also one of the ones that we'd identified. GBP JPY also making that push to the upside. So we can actually see that all these currencies are already making these pushes to the intended direction. So let's just look at where we can actually identify a potential setup. Might not be on the GBP currencies, but let's just look at other opportunities as well. So let's go back to, for example, Euro JPY. Euro JPY is already making that push to the upside as well. Let's look at Euro CAD. Euro CAD looks like it's also already making that push to the upside. Euro AUD, would love to take it around these areas, around these floors, somewhere around this area around here, right? Because we already have a floor, but it's already making that push as well. So obviously, as it stands right now, majority of these moves, majority of these currencies, we will also look at AUD USD for a sell, right? We will also look at AUD USD for a sell. Look at that from the highest point, the lowest point price was actually pushing to the downside, right? Obviously now, as much as we are coming in on the hour mark, I'm really not seeing any setup that is setting up for us. On the half hour mark, I mean, NZD USD was also a sell opportunity, but it's already looking like it's selling, because obviously if I want to sell, I would have liked to sell around these areas around here. Euro GBP. Let me look at Euro GBP. Euro GBP strength is just too close, 63 to 60. So I don't like looking at currencies that have too close of strength together. So definitely Euro GBP is a definite no-no for me. Look at that strength. Look at that strength flip now. All right, it's just too close. Even if it is in a good potential zone, which it isn't, because obviously if I would have liked to take this trade, I would have liked for it to do exactly that, drop down towards these areas around here, because there's a lot of floors around here. So I wanted to drop down even closer to the Bollinger Bands as well, to give me another confirmation, to give me another indication that price is ready to start pushing to the upside. So that's why I'm not looking at that Euro GBP. That is why I'm not looking at that Euro GBP. So obviously we did miss the half-hour mark, which is basically where I would have liked to take my trade. Um, definitely didn't see this one. This USD CHF. It is at the floor. It is at the floor. We've got a number of indications pointing towards this buy move that's happening currently over here. Got a couple of pointers pointing towards this buy move happening here. All right, but it's completely fine because the strength also is just too close. Also, it's very important for us to really look at that strength because that strength is going to be a big factor in how the market actually plays out. So we definitely don't want to, get caught up in the market because we didn't check the strength and we find that, now the market is actually, turning against us or, not really giving us that push that we wanted, because of that strength, right? So we really want to look closely to that strength because like I always tell people, there are certain indications that you just can't overlook, right? That you just can't overlook. For example, there are some indications, for example, if the Bollinger Bands aren't touching, you can actually take a trade if the Bollinger Bands aren't touching. But there are certain indications and certain, confirmation that you simply can't, overlook. And the one of those is the strength. The strength is one of the most important ones because remember, the strength determines the momentum. The strength determines the trend, right? So we definitely want to make sure that we have the strength on our side, right? When you see strength like this, right, like 49, 46, that's just too close for comfort, right? That is just too close for comfort. So you really want to see some good strength in the market in order for you to be confident in buying or selling that specific market. And good strength is at least a 10-point difference, at least a 10-point difference. That is my definition of good strength. So obviously, now my next best trade setup, I'm seeing the strength flip like drastically right now. I'm seeing strength drastically change because remember Euro AUD was a massive buy momentum. But look at what happened right now. Massive drop. And now AUD, look at that. See, this is why I always tell people that, you want to pay very close attention to the strength. Look at how the strength just changed. Remember, Euro AUD was one of the currencies that we were looking for some buy momentums, and I even drew this line, to indicate my flaws. But look at what happened. Look at that massive drop. Look at that drastic drop, and look at the strength change. Look at now, it's like 1 point, 1 point difference. So definitely, as much as where it's at right now, it's at a very ideal place to buy. And that, oh, look at that massive push. Just as I was saying, it's at a very ideal place to buy. It gave us that massive push. But obviously, strength is a big factor. Strength is a big factor, to take into consideration. Our strength is a big factor to take into consideration. So let me look at the time now. Okay. AUD really just gained a lot of strength out of nowhere. AUD really just gained massive, massive strength, and that's why you're seeing this bullish momentum on everything that has to do with AUD. Look at AUD JPY, look at AUD CHF, look at AUD NZD, also making this push. Let's look at AUD USD. Look at this, making that massive push. So AUD really gained some strength, right? Really gained some strength right now, and that's why we're seeing these drastic moves. This CAD CHF, I would love for it to push up a bit, because as much as stochastic is ready, look at the RSI. It's really not at the point. It's really not at the zone yet. So that's why I drew my, my ceiling at a higher level, because I noticed that we do have two floors there. We do have two floors there. And remember, a floor turns into a ceiling, right? So if this market can actually push up into these two floors, I know for a fact that, RSI is going to catch up, which is also one confirmation that you really can't miss. See, both of these have to be aligned. If you want to sell the market or buy the market, you have to have both of these on your side. You can't have stochastic ready for RSI not ready, or RSI ready and stochastic not ready. They both have to be touching or above the red lines in order for you to sell, touching or below the blue lines in order for you to buy, not one without the other, right? They always have to both be, in unison, right? In unison, in order for you to give you that solid confirmation that, okay, price is in a very good zone to actually start reversing and actually start moving in a certain direction. Look at that beautiful move in Euro AUD pushed down into this area, this crucial zone that I mentioned, right? This crucial zone I mentioned. So technically it was a good area because price made that nice push into it. And look at what's happening right now. It's pushing way above that zone. So that was a nice push and a nice technical zone. But on strategy, that was not a good trade to take. Why? Because the strength is just too close. And that is our first confirmation when we're taking trades on strategy. But technically, price was supposed to reverse when it came down into this area, because we have a lot of movements and this is a crucial zone. This was a very crucial zone. Why? Because we've got some strong support and some strong support and some strong resistance. We've got some floors at this area and we've got some ceilings at this area. So it means that price has been responding and reacting around these areas right here. So that's why price came down into that area and then pushed back to the upside. All right. So in the next 5 minutes, I am going to be looking to take a trade. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just looking, I'm just browsing, and I'm just seeing where I'd like to potentially take a trade. And this is also a good massive push above my area, above my zone. All right. So price just tipped and closed just below my floor over here, But what happened is that it closed and then made that massive reversal and that massive push above that area again, So I'm going to wait for these next couple of seconds so I can look at all the newest candles, because that is going to give me some indication of where the market really is heading towards. But honestly, all these setups. Okay, so we've got the new candles right now. So I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to just analyze, and I'm going to look at where price is currently at. So AUD has definitely gone. It definitely gained a lot of strength. AUD definitely gained a lot of strength. So we can even come here and refer. We've got over 80 people. Jeez. Thank you, Annalisa. Sheesh, so many people on this call. Let me just refresh. Look at AUD strength. Look at AUD. Look at how massive AUD gained strength in a very short space of time. In a very, very short space of time. All right. So that's why we always want to really make sure that, we're paying close attention to what is really happening in the markets. All right. So obviously now that it's made that massive push up, we're looking for it to come back down, because what goes up must come down, right? What goes up must come down. So I'm seeing some support areas around this area, and I'm seeing some support areas around these areas here. All right. So obviously, if it does push down towards this first zone, and stochastic and RSI are already around those areas, if strength is still on my side, if we've got a couple of indicators, then we might just take it to the upside. But if it's not ready, then it definitely, we are going to need it to push back down into that second zone, into that second area, for us to continue making that push to the upside. Right, so that's what I'm looking at on AUD JPY. So I've got two zones here. I've got 219 and I've got 177. Right. Also on AUD CHF, I've got a couple of crucial zones. But let me just look at all these other currencies. Let me see if I can identify any good setup. We've got about 2 more minutes. Also, if you do see a setup on your end, if you do see a good setup in your end that you think, is coming down nicely towards a good area, you can let me know in the chat box. You can let me know in the chat box so we can look at it. Look at Euro AUD. Look at this beautiful move in Euro AUD. Look at what the market did. Market broke structure, came literally to my area, to my zone, broke outside and then pushed back in, and then new candle came, and then boom, massive push to the upside, right? So it came down and respected my area, it respected my zone. It didn't break below this area. It pushed down, closed inside that area, closed inside that zone. And then when the new candle opened, on technical analysis, made a massive push to the upside, right? So that was a good area. That was a good zone. So this is also teaching us a bit of patience right now. This is also teaching us a bit of patience right now. Euro NZD looks like it is coming into a good buy area, a good buy zone. So let's see how it's really going to play out. Oh, now it's making that massive push without us. So it pushed into that buy area that we wanted it, because around these areas, it was very, very good for a buy, right? It pushed down into that area, and then now it's making that push up again. So it's definitely leaving us, right? It's making that massive push to the upside. Okay, looks like it is coming back down, but let's see. But I would love for it to push down into this area again. So currently right now, it's just way above that zone, because what's going to tend to happen is that when the new candle opens, so definitely still not seeing any potential buy or sell ideas as it stands. Still not seeing any buys or sell opportunities as it stands. Markets are already pushing. I haven't seen any potential idea as of yet. USD CAD just too close for strength, but it is around the area for it to start reversing and pushing back to the upside. Would love for USD JPY to push down into my zone in order for me to be confident in that buy again. Would love for it to continue to push down into this area for me to be able to confidently take that buy. USD CHF still respecting my area, still not breaking this area. of support over here. Oh, look at that now. But you are definitely want to be patient. You just want to wait for the market to come to your areas, to your zones. And like I always say, when a specific market breaks your zone, you never panic. What do? You restructure, you rechart, you look at the next potential zone, the next potential area that you like to take that trade. All right, the next potential area. But this is going to start pushing up. All right. So price is just moving this morning. Price is just really just pushing up this morning. Hasn't really given us any good strategy setups. All right, a couple of technicals, but yeah, those were also just too quick for us to really, pay too much attention into them. But GBP JPY is now pushing down into an area. If it continues to push down into this area, we're going to see if there's any buy momentums around this area around here, right? We're going to see if there's any buy momentums around this area for this pullback to continue, for this market to push back to the upside. We're going to see how this market is going to play out. I am looking at stochastic and RSI as it continues to push down though. Right, I am looking at those. Also GBP USD, I am looking at this potential down movement towards this area for it to continue to push back to the upside. So there are potential trade setups that I'm just patiently waiting for them to play out. Also, GBP CHF looking for it to push down into these areas, into these zones. GBP CAD, GBP CAD actually is at a technical area right now. Look at it play into this area, into this zone. GBP CAD definitely is in an area, but what is the time right now? Okay. So because it is already now in, technically, this GBP CAD is in a good area because it's definitely not on strategy. It's definitely not going to be on strategy, but technically it is in a good area. But obviously, technical analysis doesn't always respect certain areas. So we might anticipate another push maybe down into these areas right here, because we can actually see that the Bollinger Bands are also closing in on, somewhere around these areas. And we can see that we've got a lot of ceilings here. And remember, once price breaks a certain ceiling, it wants to come back and respect that ceiling as a floor to continue to push back to the upside. So this would be my ideal area for me to buy GBP CAD. My ideal area is around the ceilings, right? Around the ceilings, because this ceiling can potentially turn into a floor. So as much as technically this trade is ready to start reversing to the upside where it is at right now on technical analysis, right? That's why we see this push now. Price is failing to make that massive push down. It pushes in, it pushes out, it pushes in, which means that technically price, look at that massive push now. Look at that massive push. So price is actually now making a push, down. So basically what happened here is that price pushed up, it broke these areas around here. It broke these areas around here. Oh, now it's making a massive drop. Still within good buy areas though. Still within good buy areas where it's at. Still, because we still have some also solid resistance around these areas. Solid resistance around these areas. Right, so price, so anywhere around, look at Bollinger Bands also closing in on this area. So anywhere around these areas around here, around these areas, these two areas that I've marked down here. So let me just delete these so we can actually see what's happening. All right, so definitely anywhere, look at that massive push also now to the upside. So technically around these areas, like I said, price is going to start pushing up. And we can see that this new candle, can we all see that this new candle actually opened just on top of my blue line, right? So definitely that first area, that first level was also a valid level. Look at that massive push. Who was able technically to jump in on this market, on this GBP CAD? Who took GBP CAD on technical analysis? Drop some ins in the chat box if you took GBP CAD. It was a technical analysis, but look at this massive, massive, massive push. All right. So like I would in cleared. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So a couple of people took this trade, cleared. Awesome, awesome, awesome. See, people are learning, people are clearing, people are in this trade, cleared. Awesome. If you do clear this GBP CAD, do drop some clears in the chat box. Do drop some clears in the chat box, right? Do drop some clears. It's making a massive push. All right. So as I was still explaining, the phenomenal that just happened here, I'm still in. Yeah, some people might still be in, but it's made a massive, massive push to the upside, guys. It's made a nice, big push right to the upside. So people are clearing, as it's continuing. So basically what happened here, this is what I call the break and retest of structure. Now, this is a phenomenon of the break and retest of structure. So around these areas, like I said, price was going to do what? It was going to come and respect these areas to continue to push back to the upside. Because we had these crucial areas around this area here, this was my buy zone. This was my buy area. Right? So as soon as price broke this level and came back down into this area, that was some strong areas to buy this market. And what happened is that it gave us a massive drop in, and then boom, massive push to the upside. So as soon as you guys clear this, it was a technical trade though, because like I said, technically price is supposed to come and respect these areas to continue to push to the upside, because right, it wasn't on strategy because we didn't take it on timing, right? There are certain things that we didn't, pay too much attention to. The Bollinger Bands weren't there yet. Right, so obviously 2 of the 9-point system is already disqualified. So we already have like a 7-point trade. Now, a 7-point trade is a technical trade. A 7-point trade is a good trade. But look at how massively this market pushed. Now, why did it push like that? Because technically price sometimes is going to respect and respond in certain ways. Now, this is exactly one of those ways. We had ceilings here. Now, like I said, price tends to want to break ceilings, come back down to those ceilings, but now treat them as floors to continue to push back to the upside. Now, I do understand that some people are still in this trade. If you're still in this trade, right, everyone should be out of this trade, actually. If you took this GBP CAD and you cleared, right, for those of you who are still saying I'm still in, do drop those clears in the chat box, because this was a nice break and retest of structure. Look at that massive, massive push, guys. This is flying up. Can we all see that? Look at your broker accounts, guys. Look at that massive push. All right. Cleared. Awesome, awesome, awesome. But is this making sense? Is this break and retest of structure making sense? If this is making sense, drop some 777s. Cleared 3 times. Drop some 777s in the chat box if this is making sense. If you understand exactly why I said this on technical was a good trade, right? And you took it and you cleared, and you understand why you took this trade, drop some 777 in the chat box. Wow, this was a beautiful trade, cleared twice. 7-7s, cleared. Awesome. Amazing. It's flying up now. It's making that massive, massive push to the upside. All right? Massive push to the upside. So whoever, was able to jump in on this trade, right, is swimming in heavy profits. And I'm excited. Right? I'm really excited. Right? So basically, also, we are coming in on timing right now. So we are going to be looking, at a potential either buy. Look at, oh my word, this trade is flying up, guys. Look at this massive push to the upside. Right? Look at this massive push to the upside. All right? Are we all seeing this? Right? So that was a clear example of a technical trade. Look at how AUDJPY literally came down to my zone. Guys, this is what I call respecting zones. I didn't even look at AUDJPY, but look at the minute I opened. Look at what happened. Can we all see? Look at this candle. Look at what this candle did. This candle came and literally kissed my area, kissed my zone, pushed back up, and look at what's happening right now. Price is pushing to the upside. right? So if you can, guys, this is very important. Note this down. If you can identify and spot good support and resistance, good floors and ceilings, you are halfway done. You are halfway done. Because if you look at how, see, look, just by you identifying this area, just by you identifying this zone, you are halfway there. You're halfway done. Because look at how the market literally respected this area. Boom, what happened? Push back to the upside. Look at stochastic, look at RSI, look at the strength, right? Look at the strength also, right? So this was also going to be another technical analysis. So if you want to become a technical trader, which obviously I always, advise for strategy, but if you want to be a technical analysis, you want to get very good at identifying zones. You want to get very, very good at identifying zones. For example, the trade that we just took was a good zone, right? That GBP was a good area zone, right? So you want to get very, very good at identifying the most crucial zones where price, has been respecting and where there is a lot of momentum, whether it's to the upside or to the downside, when you are going to take trades on technical analysis, right? Because look at what happened here. Let me remove this line. But look at where I drew this line and why I drew this line. Look at this. I had my first area, my first zone here. Boom. Price pushed all the way up, played around it, pushed back down into that zone. Boom. Played up, and then now it came back down. So just because of that, I put this line here because I saw that there's a lot of movements around this area. Buyers, every time they get to this area, want to push this market to the upside, push this market to the upside, push this market to the upside. Look at this candle even. This candle made a drastic push down. But what happened? Price pushed it heavy back to the upside. So as much as, yes, now it is breaking it, but obviously, look at that. It's pushing back up. On technical analysis, you could have cleared that trade. You easily could have cleared that trade, in your first 3 minutes, right? As much as now it is breaking, if it comes back down to the second area, then it's coming down on strategy. Then it's coming down because look at to the left. Look at that. We had what? We had a ceiling. Now, what do I tell you guys about ceilings? Boom, ceilings want to turn into what? Into floors. And we have a clear indication of that. Price pushed up, it came back down. Look at this candle. This candle came and kissed exactly that area where we had that ceiling, right, to turn it into a floor, and they made a massive push all the way back to the upside. So I'm anticipating AUD JPY, but now here's the thing. Look at the strength. Can we all see the strength is now flipping? Now, that is why now I'm no longer looking at that currency. As much as it is coming down to a technical analysis area, right? Technical area where, we had a ceiling, right? We had a floor, right? We've got Bollinger Bands close to that area. We're coming in on timing also. But because of the strength, I want to start moving away now from the currency. I want to start moving away from my currency because the strength is my biggest factor. The strength is my biggest factor. Excellent analysis, Mubele. Thank you, Mr. S. Thank you, Mr. S. So we've got a couple more seconds now, but obviously, like I always tell people, we don't like chasing trades. We don't look at how this market has been respecting this area over here. Literally pushed all the way up, came back down and pushed up, right? So if you can identify your zones, guys, pay attention to this. If you can identify your crucial zones, you are halfway done. You are halfway done. Now, we don't have any potential setups, honestly, that I'm looking at right now. I don't see any potential buy or sell ideas as it stands. Maybe Euro JPY for buy, but that's now obviously too late for me to call out because we're already in the new candle. But this was a good area around here. Look at that. If you were able to catch it whilst it was still on the floor, then, kudos to you. But, it did make that push as we're still talking about it, as we're still explaining it, because it is also, look at this, guys. What do we call this? What do we call this? If you were able to take this trade, then kudos to you. But what do we call this move that's happening right now? Drop in the chat box before we close this session. What is this that is happening right now? Repetition is key. I'm learning every day, so much value. Where to get the recorded video. I'm gonna drop the recordings back in the group chat. Thank you, leader. What do we call this phenomenal that's happening right now? This move that's happening. Also, if you are in on your JPY, drop some ins in the chat box. I know this was probably one of the quickest trades I called out, because I literally called out as the new candle was opening. If you're in on your JPY, drop some ins. I'm in on your JPY. Awesome. This was probably one of the quickest trades I've called out, and I apologize for calling it out, because I was trying to quickly just identify and look for zones. And immediately when I opened this chart, what did I see? Can anyone tell me what I saw when I opened this chart, and why I said Euro JPY is actually ready for some buys? Can anyone drop in the chat box before we close this session out? Cleared EJ. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Also, if you do clear this Euro JPY, drop some clears in the chat box. But I'm still waiting for someone to tell me what I saw that gave me this confidence in saying EJ is in a good area to buy if you can go and catch it quickly. Why did I say that? Break and retest. Amazing, Annalisa. You just hit the nail on the head. You just hit the nail on the head. Let me just break down this again. Last time, look at what happened here. Can we all agree that we have some sort of a ceiling here? Price pushed up, it created a ceiling. Now what happened is that it pushed back down, and then now when it was pushing back down, what was it doing? It was gaining enough momentum to break this area, right? So it was pulling back to push forward to break this area. Now that it broke that area, what are we waiting for? Right. So now that this market broke this area, we are definitely waiting for it to come back down. So this market, what's happening now? So Euro JPY. So if you are clearing Euro JPY, drop some clears in the chat box, because it is now in deep profits. Right. But what happened here is that this price, it made this massive push up, right? But eventually what goes up must do what? It must come back down. Look at that. It gave us our first indication that this was a crucial area at those areas here. This was my first indication that, okay, this is a good area. This is a good buy zone, because it showed me here that, listen, what happened, it pushed down into this area and then it pushed up. So remember, price always leaves clues. And there's the phenomenon of previous price action. So the minute price pushed back up and was pushing back down towards that area, then I always look to the left. What has been happening to the left? Price respected this. So it's giving me now a second confirmation that, listen, at this area, price will start to push up. Now, also this candle, because remember, guys, also candles, they do tell us, what did we want to see. So as soon as this candle, can we all agree that this candle closed above this area, above my zone here? So as soon as this candle gave me this fake out, it pushed down and then it closed above my area, still within this zone, guys, still within this crucial area here. As soon as price closed above this area, that was when I said, guys, Euro JPY is about to buy. And what happened? It bought. Now, who cleared Euro JPY? I'm seeing cleared EJ, cleared EJ, cleared EJ. So cleared, I'm in on EJ. So the person, Bella, did you clear EJ? You should be out of that trade, cleared EJ. So everyone who took EJ, drop some clears in the chat box if you were able to clear this EJ. All right. Cleared EJ. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So it was probably my quickest trade to call out, but as soon as I opened this chart, cleared D profit, cleared EJ. Awesome, awesome, awesome. As soon as I opened this EJ, it was really setting up nicely on that mark, on that 5-minute mark for us to, and it was literally at the floor. It hadn't given us that push yet. And I was like, guys, EJ is about to make that push. And what happened? Immediately, a couple of seconds after that, boom, it made that push. Now, look at that push now. It's actually making, drastic push to the upside. So guys, we took basically 2 trades, right? I know that, the second one was quick, right? We took 2 trades, beautiful deep profits on both of those trades. First one was on technical analysis, played out nicely, and I think that the main topic of today was the break and retest of structure, because both of the trades that we took, they had this massive, beautiful move that played out where price, pushed up, it pushed back down into our areas, into our zones to make that push back to the upside. We took two trades, clear two trades, beautiful, beautiful setups, two buy opportunities, massive, massive profits on both, so what I want you to do right now, I'm going to stop recording. All right.